Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the Voice of Reason. Very important update in the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. We are receiving fairly credible reports that the Tigrayan Defense Forces or elements of the Tigrayan Defense Forces, what we believe possibly is some sort of long range reconnaissance unit, possibly of battalion strength or greater, has moved overland from the direction of Sakota and has severed the Gondar Bahir Dar road. Uh, the information that we are receiving is that forces of the Tigrayan region have captured and or severed the road at the town of Addis Zemen, and that continued fighting in this area is underway. But again, it would appear that these long-range, deep penetration raids that are being conducted by the Tigrayan Defense Forces have been successful in terms of a very long-distance overland attack that occurred, and we believe at this point in time, based on the information that we are receiving, it's fairly credible, while not absolute certain, that the Gondar Bahir Road has been at least temporarily severed by forces of the Tigrayan Defense Forces. And again, we saw that strategy of the TDF change a bit. We're seeing both elements of a conventional war, but at the same time, we're seeing heavy elements of a unconventional war as well, with the Tigrayan Defense Forces launching these rear area operations deep into the Amhara region, operating in relatively the same type of strategy that they were utilizing when they were fighting out of the Tenbian region and when they had evicted the forces of the Ethiopian army, of the Amhara regional militias, and the Eritrean state as well. So again, aspects of the conventional nature of the conflict in which we are seeing the Tigrayan Defense Forces capture and hold ground, hold cities, hold towns. But at the same time, we are also seeing these forces continue to operate in this unconventional methodology where they will basically sneak past or go around existing strong points and then capture strategic areas. And we believe now that, in fact, the Tigrayan Defense Forces have made a significant overland journey to sever the A3 highway, or also known as the Gondar Bahir Dar Road. We continue to see the TDF, the Tigrayan Defense Forces, continue to push along the B-22 highway in areas south and north of the B-22 highway, and the strategy would appear to be fairly successful at this point in time. And what I'm going to talk about next is why this strategy is becoming more and more successful in terms of the inability of the Amhara regional militias and its Ethiopian allies and the Eritrean forces as well. The biggest issue right now for what you would define as the Ethiopian state, if you are residing in Addis Ababa and you find yourself in the position of supporting the Ethiopian state or supporting the Amhara regional paramilitaries in their efforts against the Tigray region, the biggest issue right now for this trifectate, these three allies, so to speak, and we're seeing a breaking of that alliance as well, and I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But the reality is there's no single command structure. The Ethiopian army, what exists of the Ethiopian army, commands its forces. Then you have forces of the Amhara regional paramilitaries that are under the command of the Amhara region, and then obviously you have the Eritrean army coming into the game as well. And all three of these forces have proven at times not to get along, not to follow the direction of certain orders of one party or the other, because again, there is no single layer of command, there is no unity of command. And just back to touching on the concept of unity command, if you go back to, let's say, World War II, and you looked at the Allies who were fighting the Axis powers. The Allies consisted of many nations. The major nations, obviously, were the British, were the Canadians, were the United States, the Australians, and obviously French free forces as well, Polish free forces. And all these forces did not fall under individual command structures. They fell under one command structure. So even though the British Army was independent, it obviously was following the commands set forth by General Eisenhower during that conflict. So there was one command structure and everybody followed it. We're not seeing that in terms of how the Ethiopian forces, the Amhara forces, even the Eritrean forces are prosecuting the war. There is not a unity of command, and doubtfully, even within the internal forces themselves, meaning the Ethiopian forces, there does not even appear to be a unity of command there. And then obviously even more so with the Amharan forces and to a certain extent the Eritrean forces, there is not unity of command even within those subgroups. So very challenging situation to fight a major, both really a counterinsurgency war and a fairly large-scale conventional war as we're seeing it right now. But again, we continue to hear about also the fragmentation of this alliance between the Ethiopian army, the Amhara regional army, and the Eritrean army. And first and foremost, we're seeing extracurricular activity on the part of the Eritrean army, in which it is obtaining what I would like to call five-finger discounts at the local residents of the Amhara region and concerns, ongoing concerns within the Amhara region. So basically, the Eritrean army is stealing shit. That's what they're doing. And the Amhara regional forces don't like that, and that sets them upon each other. And that's just what is occurring. We've been able to confirm that now, that there has been fighting between the Eritrean army and these Amhara regional militias because of that reason. Reported that a few days ago and have been able to verify that as of today, that it is actually occurring, meaning Eritrean forces and Amharan forces have engaged each other in fighting over some of the activities of the Eritrean army inside of the Amhara region. And then we also continue to hear about infighting going on with the Ethiopian federal forces, and that is really at certain times complete chaos in terms of their organizational structure, who is reporting to who, what corps, what brigade, division is under whose command, even at times in terms of battalion commands are seeing significant issues and ongoing. And those forces are, in fact, running into issues with the Amhara regional forces in terms of how the Amhara region wants to prosecute the war and how maybe a local commander within the scope of the Ethiopian army wants to prosecute the war. So quite a bit difference, and that difference we are seeing raise its ugly head in terms of battlefield on-the-spot executions. We're seeing fighting going on between those three forces, and it's really not helping their war effort, so to speak. But major event today as we continue to see the TDF continue to push deep into the Amhara region, and now we can confirm, at least for a temporary period of time, the A3 highway was cut, and Tigrayan Defense Forces are operating in the vicinity south of Gondar and north of Bahir Dar. And it would appear that the possible war effort right now could be a push towards Bahir Dar at some point. But that is the status quo. We will continue to monitor the situation and report. Have a great day, everybody.